Spider-Man died yesterday. The world cried. The Avengers broke. But today, another Peter Parker walked out of the shadows. He knew everything. Every battle. Every secret the real Peter never told them. His powers were stronger. His senses were sharper. His web glowed red. And he said he came from a place where New York never existed. Where Spider-Man wasn't a hero. He was the last survivor. Now he's here to warn them. The thing that killed his world is coming. And this time, not even the Avengers will be enough. New York had never been this quiet. Even on its worst days, alien attacks, Avengers battles, Stark Tower explosions, there was always noise. But after Spider-Man died yesterday, the city felt hollow, like someone had turned down the volume of the entire world. Billboards switched to black in tribute. People walked slower. Even cars honked less, as if they were grieving too. The heroes felt it worst of all. Inside the Avengers compound, the air hung heavy with something no one wanted to admit: guilt. They'd lost too many before: Natasha, Tony, Wanda. But losing Peter hit differently. He wasn't supposed to die. He was the kid who smiled through every disaster, cracked jokes mid-battle, swung into danger before anyone else even finished arguing about the plan. And now he was gone. Captain America stood by the window, jaw tight, arms folded like he was holding his own heart together. Thor stared at the ground, hammer resting on the floor beside him, the lightning in his eyes dim. Doctor Strange sat in silence, his hands glowing faintly as if he was searching for something he couldn't quite find. No one talked. No one could. Only one person broke the silence. MJ. She walked in slowly, holding the mask, his mask, in both hands. It was torn on one side, scorched on the other, a painful reminder that even the strongest heroes could fall. She stood in front of the Avengers, swallowing hard. Was it quick? She asked softly. No one answered, because no one could answer honestly. Strange closed his eyes, guilt sweeping over him like a wave. I saw the moment his thread broke, he whispered. 1 second he was fighting. The next he wasn't. MJ's hands trembled. She squeezed the mask to her chest. He always said he'd die if he ever stopped moving. Those words hit the room like a punch. Before anyone could speak again, the lights flickered. Once, twice. Then everything went dark. Cap instantly reached for his shield. Thor lifted his hammer. Strange rose to his feet, eyes glowing with mystic alertness. A cold wind swept through the compound. Impossible, because all the doors were sealed. It felt like something was breathing on the back of everyone's neck. A faint noise echoed through the corridors, like someone dragging broken metal across concrete. MJ froze. What was that? Strange didn't answer. He stepped forward, forming a bright, glowing sigil in midair, illuminating the hallway ahead. The temperature dropped lower. Frost formed on the walls. And then they heard it. Footsteps. Uneven. Staggering. Slow, but heavy enough to shake the floor with each step. Cap moved to the front. Status, he whispered. Strange's voice cracked in a way that terrified the others. Something just crossed into our reality. The footsteps grew louder, closer. Thor raised his hammer, lightning sparking across the ceiling. Stand ready. Then, out of the darkness, something collapsed onto the floor, hard enough to crack the tiles. Cap lunged forward, shield up. Strange lit the hallway fully. Everyone froze. A man lay on the ground, trembling, coughing violently. His suit was torn, soaked in blood, scorched by something. His mask hung off the side of his face, half melted. His web shooters were broken. His fingers were shaking uncontrollably. He lifted his head, and everyone in the room gasped. It was Peter Parker. MJ dropped the mask from her hands, eyes widening with horror. No, this isn't real. This can't. Thor stepped back, whispering, by the gods. Cap's grip on his shield shook for the first time in years. Strange couldn't even breathe. The man on the ground, this broken, bleeding Peter, looked up at them with eyes that didn't belong to the boy they knew. These eyes were darker, older, filled with something far beyond trauma. They were the eyes of someone who had seen planets burn. He tried to stand, but collapsed again. Cap rushed forward to help him, but the man jerked away violently. crawling backwards like a terrified animal. "No, no touching, don't touch me," he gasped, voice hoarse. Strange knelt slowly, hands raised. "Peter, is that you?" The man's eyes flickered. "Not your Peter." Everyone froze. Strange's eyes widened as he scanned the man's aura. His voice trembled. "This is Peter Parker," he said slowly, "but not from this world." MJ staggered backwards, covering her mouth. Tears spilled instantly. "What does that mean? What are you saying? Is he a copy? A clone?" The man shook his head violently, coughing up red web fluid that sizzled on the floor like acid. "Not a clone, not a copy. I'm me. Just not the me you lost." Cap helped him sit up carefully this time. Peter didn't resist. "What happened to you?" Steve asked softly. Peter's breathing was ragged. His suit was torn in patterns no one recognized. Strange noticed symbols etched faintly along the remaining fabric, burn marks shaped like spirals, claws, and something that looked like teeth. "I ran," the man whispered. "From what?" Cap asked. Peter stared at the ground, voice trembling. "From the thing that killed my world." Everyone went silent. Strange leaned closer. "Your world? You're saying you're from?" "A broken universe," Peter finished. "A place where there were no heroes left. No Avengers. No New York. Just me." Thor frowned. "What destroyed it?" Peter's voice cracked. "It did. The Hollow One. The thing that devours identities. I fought it for 7 years. I lost everyone. Aunt May, Ned, MJ, even myself, piece by piece." MJ staggered, tears running down her face as she stared at this stranger wearing Peter's face. Peter's hands shook. He lifted them slowly. A faint red glow pulsed through his veins. "This power, it isn't from your world. It's the reason I survived. It's the reason I escaped." Strange sensed the energy, dark, cosmic, alive. Something's echo. "It followed me," Peter whispered. "It never stops hunting, never stops feeding." Cap swallowed hard. "Why come here?" Peter finally looked up, eyes locking with Strange's. "To warn you." The room fell dead silent. Peter's voice turned cold. "It killed my Avengers first. It will kill yours next." A faint rumble echoed outside, like the city itself was groaning. Peter's pupils dilated. "It's already here." Everyone turned toward the window, and the sky flickered, like someone was erasing parts of New York. Peter Parker, the one who wasn't theirs, took a shuddering breath. "You're all already dead," he whispered. "You just don't know it yet." Thor lifted his hammer. Cap raised his shield. Strange summoned his sigils. And Peter collapsed again, whispering the final words before darkness claimed him. "It found me." The Avengers had fought gods, monsters, time-traveling tyrants, but none of them had ever seen fear like this. Not in Peter. Not in any version of him. He shook violently on the medbed, his breathing uneven, his skin turning pale with every minute. Strange hovered his hands over him, tracing the twisted red patterns glowing beneath his flesh. They moved, literally shifted, like living threads under his skin. Cap paced back and forth, jaw clenched. Thor stood guard near the door, lightning simmering across his arms, as if waiting for something to burst through at any second. MJ sat beside Peter, refusing to move away even though he wasn't her Peter. She wiped blood, if it even was blood, from the edge of his mouth. "You're safe. You're okay. Just breathe." Peter opened his eyes slowly. "No one is safe." Strange leaned forward. "You said something killed your world. Show us." Peter swallowed, throat trembling. "If I show you, you won't sleep again." "Show us," Cap said firmly. Peter hesitated, but then lifted his left hand. His palm flickered with a dim, red glow. Strange touched the glow with his own magic, connecting the two energies. Reality twisted around them. Everything went black. And then they were standing somewhere else. New York, what used to be New York, lay under them, but not one anyone recognized. The buildings were melted down to black skeletons. The streets were cracked open like broken ribs. The sky was nothing but white fog, stretching endlessly without a sun, moon, or stars. Thor whispered, unable to comprehend it. This is your home? Peter nodded slowly, expression hollow. What used to be? The ruins of Stark Tower stood in the distance, broken in half, like someone had bitten through it. Cap felt something twist inside his chest. This wasn't just destruction. It was erasure. A distant sound echoed across the lifeless city. Not a roar, not a scream, a whisper. A whisper of millions of voices layered together, overlapping, crying, begging, then falling silent all at once. MJ shuddered. What was that? Peter didn't look at her. Bam! Cap turned. Them? The people who used to live here. The Hollow One consumed them all. What you're hearing are echoes, memories, fragments. They walked through the dead city, their steps crunching over ash that looked strangely like sand but felt wrong. Too soft, too warm, like something living had died only minutes ago. They turned a corner. A crushed, twisted red and blue suit lay across the ground. Cap froze. That's your suit. No, Peter replied quietly. That's the Peter who came before me. Everyone stared. Before you. Strange asked softly. Peter kneeled, touching the torn mask on the ground with eerie calm. I wasn't the first Spider-Man it chased. My universe fell in layers. It hunted each version of me one at a time. He looked at Strange. I survived because I kept running. I didn't fight it. I learned that when you fight it, it eats faster. MJ's heart cracked. How long were you alone here? Peter lifted his gaze. 7 years. The city around them flickered for a moment, like static. A building behind them shivered out of existence, fading into dust. Peter's hand glowed again. We need to leave. Now. A shadow moved in the fog. Cap saw it first. What is that? Peter's voice broke. That's how it starts. It doesn't show its true form. Not until it has replaced every familiar thing in your mind. Strange tightened his stance. We need to see it. Peter shook his head violently. No, you don't. Thor lifted Mjolnir. Then tell us. Peter took a trembling breath. The Hollow One doesn't kill you. It takes your identity, steals your memories, wears your face. Then it leaves your world empty, so silent you forget you were ever real. Another whisper echoed, this time closer. Strange raised a shield. It's coming. Peter grabbed him suddenly. Get us out. The world around them cracked, literally cracked, like shattering glass. They snapped back into the Avengers compound. Everyone staggered, gasping for air. MJ collapsed against the bed, shaking. Thor's lightning flared violently, almost striking the ceiling. Even Cap was visibly rattled. Strange clutched his head. That world, there was no time-stone resonance, no dimensional flow, nothing. That wasn't a timeline. It was a graveyard. Peter leaned forward, voice hoarse. I told you, my universe is gone, and the thing that erased it is following me. A piercing alarm blared across the compound. Cap instantly ran to the control panel. Incoming dimensional disturbance, right here in New York. A map lit up. Dozens of red zones appeared, then hundreds, then thousands. Thor frowned. What is this sorcery? Peter's breathing quickened. It's not sorcery. Those are the symptoms. What symptoms? MJ asked. People forgetting names, Peter said quickly. Forgetting their street. Forgetting their birthdays. Forgetting who they are. It starts small. Then entire neighborhoods forget they exist. A voice crackled through the speakers. Friday. Avengers. Multiple citizens are reporting sudden memory blanks. Public confusion increasing. Hospitals overwhelmed. Cap cursed under his breath. It's starting already? Peter nodded. It always begins this way. Thor gripped his hammer tighter. Then we will face it head on. Peter glared at him with a fury none had ever seen. You can't fight it with lightning. You can't punch it. You can't blast it. It isn't physical. It's a hungry idea. And the more you fear it, the faster it grows. The compound lights flickered again. Then, again. Strange raised a shield instinctively. Something's entering. A wave of cold swept across the room. The lights died. Everything went black. A whisper filled the darkness. Not loud, not close, but everywhere. Where is your spider? MJ clutched Peter's arm. The whisper repeated, louder this time, bending the walls. "Where is your spider?" Peter trembled uncontrollably. His voice cracked. "It's here." A shadow materialized in the center of the room. Not a shape, not a person. A silhouette, faceless, shifting, hollow. Like someone had erased a human being from reality and left only the outline. Strange tried to seal it in a rune, but his magic passed right through it. Cap threw his shield. Same result. It flew through the shadow like it wasn't there. Thor swung Mjolnir. But before the hammer hit, the shadow whispered with thousands of overlapping voices. "That won't help you." Thor froze mid-swing, eyes widening as the hammer passed through empty air. The shadow stepped forward. Peter screamed, "Don't look at it. Don't." The shadow turned. MJ gasped, because now it had eyes. Peter's eyes. Not the one lying on the bed. The one they buried yesterday. The hollow one whispered again, "Peter Parker belongs to me." And the lights exploded back on. The shadow was gone, but something else was worse. Peter collapsed, clutching his head. MJ rushed to him. "What happened?" Peter shook violently. "It took something from me." "What?" Peter looked up, tears spilling down. "I don't remember my Aunt May's face." The room went dead silent. And then the alarm screamed again. Strange read the report. Entire blocks of Brooklyn are disappearing from people's memories. Peter gazed at the window, eyes full of terror. It's starting. The air in the Avengers compound felt thinner now, like the oxygen itself was slipping away with people's memories. Peter sat upright, shaking violently, his fingers digging into the bedsheets as if anchoring himself to something real. But reality itself was starting to change. Strange studied him closely, his expression dark. If the creature has already taken part of your identity, it means it's close. Very close. Peter nodded slowly, blinking hard as if trying to force memories back. It's feeding. The more fear it senses, the faster it spreads. His breath hitched, and it's already tasted this world. Friday's alarms echoed again across the compound. Second wave of mass memory anomalies detected. Citizens unable to recall children's names. Entire neighborhoods reporting temporal confusion. Cap grabbed the comm. "We need eyes on the ground." "Thor, Strange, Peter, you're with me." Peter stood, but the moment he tried moving, his knees buckled. MJ grabbed him before he hit the ground. "You're not going anywhere like this." Peter stared at her, jaw trembling. "I have to. It's hunting me. Wherever I don't go, that place dies first." Thor placed a hand on his shoulder. "Then you shall not walk alone." Peter managed a weak smile. "I never did. Not really." They moved fast out of the compound into the Quinjet and toward Brooklyn. But the moment the jet took off, they saw it. A whole section of the borough, an entire block, looked wrong. The buildings were slightly faded, like someone had copied them from memory and didn't get the details right. Street signs disappeared as they flew past. Cars lost their colors. People on sidewalks looked confused, turning in circles, staring at their hands as if they didn't recognize their own bodies. Thor gripped the side of the jet. "This feels like the realm between realms. Like something not fully real exists here." Peter shook his head. "Worse. This is what happens right before a place ceases to exist." They landed fast. Cap jumped out first, shield raised, scanning every direction. Eyes sharp. Everyone sticks together. The ground felt wrong under their feet, soft, like walking on wet paper. Even the shadows behaved strangely. Thor's shadow stretched too far. Cap's didn't move with him. MJ's shadow flickered like a broken animation. Strange closed his eyes. It's not stealing matter, it's stealing meaning. Identity. Concept. The building isn't fading because it's dying. It's fading because no one remembers it enough to keep it real. Peter suddenly gasped and clutched his head. MJ grabbed him. "Peter, what is it?" He pointed to a small corner store. Half of it gone, sliced perfectly through the middle. "I know this place. I bought eggs here once, but I can't remember when. My memory isn't from this world, but it's overlapping." Strange frowned. It's using you as a bridge between worlds. A whisper drifted through the street. Not from behind, not from above. Everywhere. Peter Parker. Thor's lightning crackled instantly. Show yourself. Another whisper. Now sharper. Hungrier. Come home. Peter's eyes widened with terror. Don't answer it. Don't speak. It learns voices. It mimics them until you forget if you ever spoke. The street went silent. Then a figure appeared at the far end of the block. A human silhouette, walking slowly, limp, dragging one foot across the cracked asphalt. MJ stepped closer. Is that? Peter's voice cracked. Don't move. The figure got closer. It wore a red and blue suit, Spider-Man's suit. But it was wrong. Too tall, too thin, limbs slightly longer than they should be. The mask sagged unnaturally, as if there was nothing inside holding it up. Then it stopped 20 feet away and tilted its head. Once, twice, like something studying them for the first time. Cap tightened his grip on the shield. Peter, is that what I think it is? Peter didn't blink. Yes, that's the Hollow One wearing my body for my world. MJ grabbed Peter's arm, horrified. It took your body? Peter nodded slowly. Before I escaped, it tore me apart piece by piece. Identity first, then flesh, then memories. This is what it built from what was left. The imposter Spider-Man took another step. Its neck cracked sideways. Then its jaw unhinged, stretching down far lower than any human jaw should. A low whisper crawled out. Found you. Thor charged forward with a roar, lightning exploding across the sky. He swung Mjolnir with full force. But when the hammer hit the imposter's chest, it passed straight through. Thor stumbled. The Hollow One's puppet twisted its head again, the mask peeling back like wet cloth. It whispered, "Your lightning has no name here." Strange shouted, "Don't let it touch your mind," and unleashed a massive mystic blast. The street shattered, cars flipped, energy tore through concrete. But the creature simply walked through it. Cap stepped protectively in front of MJ and Peter. "We need a plan." Peter shook, sweat dripping down his face. "You can't fight its body. You have to attack what it's made of." "And what is that?" Cap asked. Peter took a step forward, red energy pulsing through him as cracks of light traced his veins. "It's made of everything I lost." The puppet Spider-Man lunged. Peter met it head-on, slamming into it with a burst of red cosmic force that shook the entire block. The creature screamed, not with a voice, but with the sound of tearing memories. Strange yelled, "Peter, don't burn yourself." But Peter didn't hear him. He dug his fingers into the creature's chest, ripping through its hollow form like breaking through fog. "You don't get to take this world too," he growled. The creature flickered violently, screaming with distorted versions of Peter's own voice. "Don't leave me. Help me. Come home." Peter ripped the core free, a glowing, writhing ball of stolen identity, and crushed it in his hand. The puppet collapsed, dissolving into white dust. Thor stared, stunned. What in the realms is that power? Peter dropped to his knees, panting. "It's the last thing the Hollow One gave me, so I could survive." Strange knelt beside him. "Then it's corrupting you. This energy isn't from any dimension I know." Peter looked up at them, face pale. "It's not corrupting me." He pointed at the sky. The clouds twisted into a spiral. A massive, hollow face formed in the clouds, faceless and infinite. "It's calling me back." And the sky whispered, "Spider-Man." Peter trembled as the wind turned icy. "It knows I'm here." The spiral in the sky widened until half of Brooklyn dimmed under its shadow. People on the streets froze mid-step, staring upward as if something enormous had stolen their attention. Phones slipped from hands. Birds stopped mid-flight. A silence fell so deep it felt like the world was holding its breath. Peter stood in the center of the street, chest heaving, red energy cracking across his skin like lightning trapped under flesh. The Hollow One's voice rolled across the sky, vibrating through the pavement. "Come home." Thor raised his hammer. "If it seeks battle." Peter cut him off sharply. "No, no battle. That's what it wants. When you fight it, you feed it." Cap stepped beside Peter, shield lifted. Then what do we do? Peter's voice shook. You do nothing. This is between it and me. MJ grabbed his arm instantly. Absolutely not. We just got you back. I'm not losing another Peter. Peter looked at her with eyes full of a lifetime of grief. You never had me, MJ. You're Peter, he's gone. I'm just the last version of a broken world. And the thing that broke it wants to finish the job. Strange held the air like he was listening to something only he could hear. The ripple is getting stronger. It's not just a projection. It's breaching reality. The ground cracked, splitting in a perfect circle around Peter. The air shimmered like heat waves, revealing glimpses of his ruined world. Collapsed buildings, empty streets, faceless figures drifting like smoke. Thor stepped forward, but Strange blocked him with a glowing shield. No, if you interfere, it will latch onto your identity too. We can't afford that. The Hollow One's voice deepened, echoing through every surface. Spider-Man, you left something behind. Peter flinched, his breath hitching. The sky above twisted again, forming a shape. A figure, small, fragile. A woman. MJ gasped as the image formed clearly. Aunt May, broken, pale, half-transparent, looked down from the sky. But her eyes were wrong. Empty. Hollow. Peter dropped to his knees, a strangled sound escaping his throat. No, 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 don't use her. Don't. Aunt May's voice echoed softly, warped and layered. Peter, you promised you'd come home. Peter slammed his fists into the concrete. Stop. That's not her. That's not. The Hollow One whispered again, stronger. You failed her. You failed them all. The ruined world visions intensified around him. Flames, ash, voices fading into static. Every death he ever witnessed, every loss, poured into the street like a tidal wave. MJ couldn't stay back anymore. She ran through Strange's warning shield and grabbed Peter's face. Listen to me. That's not your May. That's just a monster wearing her voice. Peter trembled, tears falling. Then why does it still hurt? Thor bellowed. Because you are Spider-Man. You carry the pain of 1,000 battles, but you do not carry it alone. Cap knelt beside him. You survived the end of your world. Don't let this thing finish what it started. The sky face warped, screaming with a chorus of twisted voices. Peter, Parker. Peter's eyes hardened. He stood slowly, energy surging around him. If it wants me, he clenched his fists. Then it can have what's left of me. Strange stiffened. Peter, what are you planning? Peter didn't answer. He stepped into the cracking circle as reality tore open. The Hollow One roared, and the portal swallowed Peter whole. Peter hit the ground hard, if it could even be called ground. The place he fell into wasn't a world. It was an echo, a hollow space made of memories he wished he could forget. The sky was colorless, like someone had wiped the entire universe with an eraser. The buildings were shadows. The streets were outlines. Everything felt like a sketch someone abandoned halfway. The Hollow One waited for him in the center, a towering, faceless mass of white fog shaped like a human that had never been real. Its limbs bent wrong, its chest opened and closed like a mouth. Thousands of whispers poured from inside it, voices Peter knew. His own voice. Aunt May, MJ, Ned, his world. Every lost soul it devoured. It grew sharper as Peter approached, details forming from stolen memories. Hands, jawlines, shapes of people it had eaten. Their identities flickered across its surface like broken reflections. You came back, it whispered. Peter stepped forward, red energy pulsing through every vein. I didn't come to return. I came to end this. The Hollow One's form stretched, cracking the ground under them. You cannot destroy what you carry inside. Peter's breath caught. The creature didn't mean fear. It meant the power inside him. The red cosmic glow, its gift. The last piece of the Hollow One's own essence. Peter's hands shook. For the first time, he understood the truth. The Hollow One hadn't let him escape. It had sent him, a carrier, a doorway, a Trojan horse, so it could reach another universe. Peter whispered, "You used me." The Hollow One's voice twisted into a smile. "You were my favorite memory." Peter fell to his knees as a surge of guilt hit him. His escape wasn't a victory. It was an infection. He had brought the end of his world to another. But then he saw MJ's face. The real MJ. Not this shadow. He remembered her voice, steady, defiant. That's not your May. That's just a monster wearing her voice. Peter stood. You made one mistake, he said quietly. Spider-Man never fights alone. Reality split open behind him. Thor bursting through with lightning exploding from every direction. Strange ripping through dimensions with a roar. Cap diving forward with his shield glowing under runic protection. The Hollow One staggered back, its form glitching under the sudden surge of identities not its own. The heroes rushed in, but Peter raised a hand. No, this is my fight. He turned toward Strange. Open the seal. Strange froze. Peter, the seal requires an identical soul. You'll both die. Peter nodded. Good. He reached into the Hollow One's chest, gripping the core, the pulsing red identity that connected them. He pushed it into himself. Thor yelled. MJ screamed. Cap reached for him, but Peter smiled. I'm taking it all with me. The Hollow One shrieked as light burst from Peter's chest, ripping through the hollow dimension. Identities released. Voices freed. The creature collapsed, its shape imploding in on itself. Strange opened the seal, a golden tear in reality. Peter stepped into it willingly. The dimension caved in behind him. Silence. Back on the Brooklyn street, the portal closed with a soft whisper. MJ fell to her knees. Thor bowed his head. Cap placed his shield on the ground. Strange looked at the sky, tears building despite himself. He saved two worlds. A soft breeze swept across them. Lightning cracked faintly in the distance. And as the clouds parted, a thin, glowing red web shot across the sky. Not dissolving, not fading, moving, alive. Cap whispered, he's not gone. MJ stared upward, hope breaking through her tears. Somewhere across realities, Spider-Man was still fighting. And this time, he wasn't running anymore.